I am flabbergasted on how well this actually worked out. It required a few little modifications, which were fairly easy for me because I have tools, but it's really not something you need. So let me explain what this is. So this is just a case for actually a graphics card. As you can see, it's a huge case in comparison to what you would actually need for these for this RME Hammerfall card. So what I ended up doing is I built this monster machine right here, but all of the new connections are all going to be PCI Express, so they're going to be much bigger slots or the smaller slots. And this slot is so old, it's like 20 years old. It's like they don't even really make computers with PCI slots anymore. But for, I think it was like 40 bucks or maybe even less than that, this adapter board with a USB 3 connection, I didn't think it was going to be fast enough, but guess what? The USB 3 is actually way faster than the PCI actually ever was, so it definitely can take the bandwidth. So this is my Hammerfall card, and you can get these things for like $699 on Sweetwater, and they are as rock solid as you can get as far as the conversion. They're only 92 kilohertz, but most people never even go that high. But it's got, you know, tons and tons of freaking ins and outs and everything like that, MIDI and all that kind of jazz. But long story short, what I did for the modifications, I just drilled a little bit open this little, breathing port so I could get the USB cable. You can see underneath, you could actually wire it underneath that, but this cable's so rigid that it kind of forced the cable in a bad position, and it kind of put a little bit of stress on that. I did not want to do that. So I just cut through that just a tiny bit just to get the USB through there. The only other modification that I actually had to make to this to get it to work, and I was really pleasantly surprised that it came with all the thumb screws, and these things fit perfectly. And all I had to do was take these two screws off, and then these two screws off, pull this plate off. Didn't have to modify anything else. But this, the bottom of this particular adapter board came with these feet, so it could just sit all by itself. So it came with 4 of those. And I really didn't even need to, but I actually put some stickers, to keep it from grounding out against this right here, so the metal didn't touch those contacts. So just enough padding to keep it from doing that. But as you can see, the way it was, these things would stick out this much farther, so there was no way I could mount them. So I used a pair of needle nose pliers, just to pinch these things together, and they came right through the holes. And then I just rised them up just enough to keep them from touching contact metal to metal. And it worked out fantastic. So now I do not have to spend $2,000 on another system. Plus I've got all this other gear. I'd have to get rid of my Rosetta, which I'm very happy about keeping, and all the other stuff. So this is a solution. If you guys have old PCI cards that you still love and you still can use for your newer systems, if you got to get a new computer, this is a great solution. You can put it in this. I mean, this case was not expensive. I got it on eBay. Put a link in the description as well. But it works great, and it's a solid case, and it's, obviously breathable, but it sits all on its own. Most people will never see it and then wouldn't know what it is. The only downside to this whole thing is all the cables are going to come from the back of this, so it should face this, but then you've got the USB cable going like that. So I guess if I really wanted to, I could spin this cable through, weed it through there, have it kind of come through there, and just kind of feed it back out through this. Maybe I could even feed it out through the top. Never even thought to do that. So I can keep all the cables going in the same direction. Just a quick update, I took it back out, and so you don't have to do any modifications to the back of this if you don't want to. Just run it over the top. There's plenty of room, so now everything can just go in one direction. Definitely recommend this. Both the board and the USB connection work great. I got a 3090 card in here. Can't see it right now. Just go ahead and turn the power on so you can see it. But what was crazy about that whole scenario is that, you'll see this in a second, the 3090 card is ginormous, and it actually sits right on top of the only existing PCI slot that I could have used. So it comes with a little adapter. It's like this big. You'll see it, obviously, a picture of it. I'll show it up on the screen. But where it was, this card is literally sitting on top of it. But whoever designed this was genius, because they basically put it flat way. So you could, it basically goes into the slot, but then the USB cable pokes out like this. And so it literally just goes straight. So neither the card, it's not causing any damage. There's no extra pressure on the motherboard. And it worked right away, as you can see. Just lights right up. And it works perfect. I'm blown away. This was such a great thing. It saved me thousands and thousands of dollars from not having to do that. So hope this helps.